Was good, ballers? It's Jim's Ballin' back again with the power rankings. Week 18, final week of the regular season. Crazy! But that's where we're at, and let's just jump into it. In last place, worst team in the league. Now it's gotta be the Browns. Since the Giants won, it's gotta be the Browns, as their offense just can't do anything at all. They lost to the Dolphins. They got tied for worst record in the league with the 3-13 record. Dorian Thompson stinks. Jameis Winston is a turnover machine. Their offense is just terrible. I don't know what they do next season, but at least they're really ass and can get a good draft pick. Number 31, it's got to be the Titans, and they lost to the Jaguars. They're also 3-13. Mason Rudolph stinks. Will Levis kind of stinks. They got no quarterbacks. And I don't know, other than maybe Tyjae Spears is kind of a bright spot. I don't know, the Titans are pretty terrible. Number 30, I gotta give it to the Bears. They lost to the Seahawks in a game where they could only put up 3 points. They're 4-12, but they started off the season 4-2 and have lost 10 straight games. It's ridiculous. Like I said, your offense can only put up 3 points. Embarrassing in a game that was 6-3. Terrible game, terrible offense. Caleb Williams, the only stat he's had is just like not being able to throw picks. Like he hasn't thrown picks in a while. That doesn't really matter if you're not winning any games. Kind of a useless stat. And the streak was broken anyway. On the final play of the game, he threw a pick. So like, I don't know. The Bears are just complete mess. Super ass. They should really be ashamed of themselves. Number 29, I gotta give it to the Saints because they just lost to the Raiders. And the Raiders are one of the worst teams in the league. He lost by double digits to another one of the worst teams in the league. Come on, that's terrible. They kind of got some injuries. No Derek Carr, no Alvin Kamara. So yeah, the Saints are pretty ass. They're 5-11, and they just kind of been looking disappointed after starting off the season 2-0. Since that, everything's been terrible for the Saints. They're a terrible team. Number 28, it's got to be the Patriots, and I kind of had some hope for them. Thought that, hey, maybe they're kind of a decent team, but nope, they just got demolished by the Chargers. 3-13, I don't know, I guess Drake May is still the guy, even though he just didn't really play really good this game. But I mean, I guess you're playing against a playoff team with a really good defense, the Chargers. But man, the Patriots are super ass. They really need to get a better roster. Hopefully with the draft can get some better players, because they really need some better guys on their team. Number 27, it's got to be the Panthers. They just got demolished by the Bucs. They're 4-12, and I don't know, I guess Bryce Young maybe can be their starting quarterback, but like I said, similar to the Patriots, their roster's super ass. I don't know what they do. Maybe they can get some good draft capital, draft some better guys for their team. Number 26, moving up a bunch of spots, it's the Giants, because they just decided to tank their draft stock and beat the Colts. A Colts team that was vying for the playoffs, fighting for the playoffs, and the Giants ruined those hopes. I don't know what the point of winning this game was. I have no idea what they're doing. But Drew Lock decided to lock in and just look really good, look like fucking MVP for one game. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the Giants are doing. I think they hate their fans. I think they hate their organization. I think they hate themselves. I don't know what they're doing, but they're 3-13 and threw away their first overall pick odds. I don't know what they're doing, but the Giants are still really bad. Number 25, it's got to be the Raiders, and maybe they're a little bit better than one of the worst couple of teams in the league, because they beat the Saints. They've won their last couple of games. They're at 4-12, so I don't know. Maybe you can use that momentum going into the next season. I don't know. Number 24, it's got to be the Jaguars, and they're able to beat the Titans. And they're 4-12. I don't know. I guess maybe Mac Jones isn't like the worst quarterback in the league. I mean, I guess he's okay. And the Jaguars, I mean, they've got a decent enough roster. I mean, maybe get some better guys around Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is solid. Maybe this team can, I don't know, finish around 500 next year. We'll see. Number 23, it's the Jets. And it was a low scoring game until the second half when the Bills just poured it on, and then the Jets just got absolutely shit on. Aaron Rodgers is pretty washed. I think he's washed. I think he should retire, but I don't know. Maybe he'll probably be back next year. I don't know. I don't fucking know. They're 4-12. They're really ass. And they just got demolished by the Bills. So I don't know what they're doing next year. We'll see. Number 22 is the Cowboys, and they lost to the Eagles with their third string quarterback in. The Cowboys look like maybe they can be kind of competitive after they beat the Bucs, but Nope, they just got demolished by the Eagles against a division opponent. Kind of disappointing. They're 7-9. Cooper Rush, not really that good of a quarterback, but we'll see what they do next season. Number 21 is the Colts. One of the most embarrassing losses in recent history for the Colts. So they lost to the Giants fighting for the playoffs, and you lose to the worst team in the league with the worst record. Insanely disappointing. Joe Flacco, I don't know. I think he should retire. Anthony Richardson, I don't know what's going on with him. The Colts are kind of a mess, kind of stuck in mid right now. Number 20, it's the Cardinals, and this was a game to the Rams that they could have won, but they lost. They had chances to win it, but they lost. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It's not like they were going to make the playoffs anyway, but could have upset a division opponent. Could have been a good win, but they lost. But still in a rebuilding year. It's still a decent year for the Cardinals, I guess. Number 19, it's the Seahawks. And with a 9-7 record, is 19 kind of low? Maybe, but considering you only put up 6 points to the Bears, that is embarrassing. And the Seahawks are now out of the playoffs anyway. They can't even make the playoffs, so the record kind of meaningless now. The win against the Bears, really shitty game. They won it anyway regardless, kind of meaningless. The Seahawks had a chance to do something this year, and I guess they had a decent enough year. Maybe next year can be better, but I don't really have that much faith in the Seahawks. I think they're just stuck as a mid team. Number 18, it's the 49ers, and that's right, a 6-10 team is above a 9-7 team in my power rankings. But the 49ers look really competitive against the Lions, and the Lions are one of the best teams in the league. And I don't know, it's a game like this that kind of gives you hope for maybe next year, the 49ers. Maybe if you're healthy, you run it back, you can be a competitive team, maybe make the playoffs. And I guess that's kind of how I feel about the 49ers. Still 6-10, I don't know. Next year could be better, and currently with just how the 49ers look competitive, I guess, the fact that their offense can actually score points, I think the 49ers are better than the Seahawks. Number 17 is the Dolphins, and they're still fighting for a playoff spot, but that is not going to happen. I don't see it happening. They beat the Browns, and where their offense really couldn't do too much. Tua's not even playing. I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. They're just really stuck in mid. Number 16 is the Falcons, and Michael Penix Jr. is pretty decent. I can give him that. They lost to the Commanders in a game they kind of really needed to win, but now they need the Bucs to lose next week, and that's tough. But I don't know. The Falcons look like maybe next year it can be a little bit better. Michael Penix Jr. can be better next year. Some more experience, so I don't know. Maybe this year might be kind of lost for the Falcons, but maybe some hope for next year. Number 15, it's the Texans, and they just got absolutely demolished by the Ravens. I know losing Tank Dell sucks. Stephon Diggs is out too, but this Texans offense can't do anything at all. The Texans only put up 2 points, and that's just off of safety. Their offense couldn't put up anything against one of the better teams in the AFC. And that's just kind of how their playoff game is most likely going to shake out. They're 9-7. They locked up the 4 seed, but whoever they play in the first round, they're probably going to lose that game and maybe lose it really badly. So all in all, it's just kind of a disappointing year for the Texans. Number 14, falling a bit, it's the Broncos. And I don't know, it's just the way they kind of fumbled this game away to the Bengals is kind of disappointing. It was impressive the way they were able to come back, force overtime, but the fact that you have chances in overtime to win and lock yourself up a playoff spot, it kind of makes me think that they're just not going to win next week either and just lose this playoff spot, honestly. That's just the way I see it. I've kind of lost my faith in the Broncos a bit. I still think they're a really decent team. A really good first year from Bo Nix, really good year for the Broncos. But this Broncos team is a little disappointing now, honestly. Number 13 is the Bengals moving up. They beat the Broncos, and I think they'll probably win next week too and maybe sneak into the playoffs. We'll see about this Bengals team. They've really turned it on recently. Joe Burrow's been looking really decent, and I don't know. Bengals make the playoffs, maybe they can get a win. Number 12, it's the Rams. They beat the Cardinals in kind of a low-scoring game. The Rams are 10-6. They locked up their playoff spot, but still feeling a little shaky and a little disappointed in the Rams, honestly. This offense has not been clicking. After they put up hella points against the Bills, since that, their offense not really been able to do much. They've been winning games. Their defense looks solid, but the thing is, when you're in the playoffs, you play against whatever team you play against, whether you're playing against the Packers, Vikings, Lions, whatever playoff team you're playing in the NFC, you're not going to hold them to only 9 points like you did the Cardinals. They're going to put up a bunch of points. These are good offenses, and you're not going to be able to win games unless your offense can score some points, Rams. So hopefully the offense starts clicking better for the Rams, because you're not going to hold these best teams in the playoffs to only 9 points and win the game. That's not going to happen. Number 11 is the Bucs, as they just demolished the Panthers. And I don't know, when Baker Mayfield's clicking, when he's baking, this Bucs team can be really dangerous. So we'll see if the Bucs can lock up their playoff spot. I think they most likely will. We'll see. Number 10, it's the Chargers, and they were able to just beat up the Patriots, but the Patriots are not really a good team. We've kind of seen this from the Chargers. They kind of had some easy games where they beat up bad teams and maybe lost some games against some good teams, but they're 10-6. They locked up their playoff spot. I mean, it's a good first year for the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, but they'll most likely lose their playoff game. Number 9, it's the Steelers, and the Steelers just keep losing games, keep dropping games. Lost to the Chiefs, and they just didn't really look impressive at all. Their defense supposed to be really good, but they couldn't really stop Chiefs offense at all. They're 10-6, and it's just looking like most likely a first round loss for the Steelers. Unless they play against the Texans, then maybe they can get a win. But the Steelers, I don't know, they just can't hang with the best of the best, and that's just kind of disappointing for the Steelers. They had an insanely good record. The Steelers team looked really impressive, maybe Super Bowl bound even, but after these past few weeks losing against the best of the best teams, we know that the Steelers, they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. They're going to lose in the playoffs at some point. Number 8, it's the Commanders, and they beat the Falcons, went to overtime. Kind of a close game, kind of a good game, but the Commanders ultimately came out with a W. For your rookie quarterback, be able to take over in overtime, get the win, that's good to see. Maybe the Commanders can win a playoff game, we'll see, but that's a good win. They're looking like a pretty solid team. Number 7, it's the Packers, and just they lost to the Vikings. They got swept by both the Lions and the Vikings, and also with a loss to the Eagles. 11-5. It just kind of shows me that this Packers team, yes, they're really good, but they're not able to beat these best of the best teams. And when it comes to the playoffs, maybe they can win a first round game, but whenever they ultimately play against the Eagles or the Vikings or the Lions, they're going to lose that game. I don't have that much faith in the Packers playing against the best of the best. Really solid team, probably a really solid season for the Packers, but it's most likely a second round playoff exit for them. And now we're into the top 6, and I think the top 6 teams are the teams that have the chance at winning the Super Bowl. One of these top 6 teams are going to win the Super Bowl. So these top 6 teams, they're all really, really good. Starting off with number 6, it's the Eagles, and they were able to beat the Cowboys. 13-3 record, really good. They locked up their number 2 seed in the NFC. They're a really solid, really strong team. And the fact with the backup quarterbacks in, they still look really impressive, is also really good. Saquon Barkley is insane. Over 2,000 yards in the season. The Eagles are a really dangerous team. Number 5, it's the Ravens. And even though they're 11-5, I still have a lot of faith in them because we just saw them demolish the Texans. This defense kind of had some question marks about it. How about shutting down the Texans' offense, not allowing them to get any points at all? The Texans, they're a playoff team, so doing that against a playoff team is insanely good. The Ravens, with Lamar looking like MVP, I don't know, I think maybe Lamar locked up another MVP with this win. We'll see. Yeah, this Ravens team, we know how really good they can be. I have faith in the Ravens, but most likely another loss to the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's just kind of how it goes. Number 4, it's the Vikings. And they beat the Packers. I didn't think they were going to win this game, but they looked impressive, really impressive. They just kind of beat up on the Packers. Some late game touchdowns for the Packers, maybe made it a little bit closer than the game actually was, but the Vikings kind of dominated. And with the 14-2 record, they have a chance to beat the Lions and take the number 1 seed in the NFC, which is crazy. This Vikings team, they have lots of offensive weapons, and that defense is really solid, so Vikings are kind of a scary team. Number 3, it's the Lions, and they are kind of barely able to beat the 49ers. Their defense is really banged up, but they can keep healing up and look better week after week. And we know this Lions offense, it's probably the best offense in the league. Lots of weapons. This Lions with a really good offense can outscore teams and win games that way too. Let's see if the Lions can heal up. If this Lions team can get really healed up and that defense can look a lot better, then the Lions could be the best team in the league. But right now they're 14-2 and they're looking to beat the Vikings next week. And at number 2, I got to give it to the Bills. They were able to dominate the Jets in the second half. get a really easy win. They're 13-3. We saw them recently beat the Lions, and the Lions are a team that could make it to the Super Bowl. We've seen them beat the Chiefs as well. So if this Bills team, if they can click really well, if Josh Allen can play his best ball, then this Bills team can win a Super Bowl. But at number one, staying at number one, I gotta give it to the Chiefs. I just can't really deny them right now. They've been looking better week after week going to the playoffs. We've seen them win these really close games, but they just dominated the Steelers, and the Steelers are another playoff team. So the Chiefs have just been looking better week after week. Their offense clicking better. That defense is insanely good defense for the Chiefs. They're 15-1. They're looking to three-peat. So just with how good they've been looking, I can't deny them. They're the best team in the league right now. So that's the Chiefs, and that has been the video. Thank you for watching. This has been Jim's Ballin'. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.